Oak Insurance. Jags head coach Liam Cohen has spent several seasons as a play caller across college football and the NFL. However, this will be his first experience of running an entire team and not just one side of the ball. Cohen has stated he plans to remain the play caller for the offense. Jags QB Trevor Lawrence spoke on the importance of Cohen's leadership having an effect on the whole team.
So obviously that's one side of the ball, and he's responsible for that as far as our plan. And then when the game starts, he's going to be the one calling it. So of course that's important. But I think just from the leadership perspective, having that energy day in, day out is something that I think our team needs. We've been through a lot. The last 2 seasons have been not what we expected after what we did, 2 years ago. And I think this team just needs some juice. And I know he's going to bring that as players. I'm ready to lead and bring that as well.
It's 65 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dawes.
Hey, this is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL. Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
I feel like we should thank the Jaguars. While I was gone camping, nothing happened on the coaching front. While Mia was gone on vacation down in the Keys, nothing happened on the GM front other than the Jaguars interviewing some people via Zoom and then announcing the finalists.
Were you back, though, when Trent... No, I don't think you were back yet when Trent got fired.
So y'all had the show. He wasn't fired yet. And then after the show...
Where were you at
Wednesday,
that point?
That's when we were driving back home.
Okay, so you were done with vacation, but you were still off that day.
Yes.
So
but it didn't happen until after the show.
Yeah, technically no head coaching news, but that was pretty big. I was very grateful, yes, that the Jaguars, so conveniently, as I just thanked them during the handoff, decided to arrange the entire head coaching interview process, not around the President's Day weekend holiday, but around my vacation.
The GM search.
Yes, the general manager search. So
I knew what you meant.
Still coming off vacation. But yeah, right down to the fact that the only news really was just that maybe a couple of surprising names last week, Thursday and Friday, that were requested for interviews. And then Saturday, they literally continued in the vein of transparency to release those 5 finalists, 2 of which I've been very vocal that I believe that those 2 were always destined to be finalists for the job. And here we are. We don't even have to start interviews till tomorrow, so we don't even have to worry. Yay! A day to ease back in.
You're referring to Ian Cunningham and James Gladstone.
Yes, exactly. As I just told the boys of Jaguars today, Lauren, if you had been able to place odds on a job that wasn't open yet in October, Ian Cunningham was the odds-on favorite to be the next general manager of the Jaguars. Then I would like to believe if I was to, maybe put a MyBookie number on it, I would probably have him at about plus 180 right now, but I would give James Gladstone a line around plus 260 right now because I do believe he is gaining ground. I do believe that the Los Angeles Rams have gone to bat for him time over time throughout this process. And as I just asked Mike Dempsey, and I'll ask both of you, a lot of this comes down to, yes, this would be his first general manager interview. Yes, no other team has requested him up to this point. He's a name that so many didn't know. Yes, many of our contemporaries around the National Football League have spent the last week and a half sending me Draco Malfoy memes. But here's the thing. When you look at James Gladstone, when you look at Ian Cunningham, you say, that's someone who, if not this cycle, next cycle, he's going to be requested by multiple other teams. That is where, with all due respect, I look at Trent Baalke before him, and I look at Ethan Waugh, and I say, is that someone who is going to be requested for GM interviews next year if he was to have maintained being the assistant general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars? And the answer is no. And part of that, for me, is historically speaking, over the last 5 years, go right down the line, whether it's GM, whether it's head coach, coordinators, position coaches. Folks, the Jacksonville Jaguars have not had a coordinator, an incumbent coordinator, receive a request outside of Press Taylor from the Baltimore Ravens in 2022, which Doug Peterson blocked. They have not had a coordinator requested for a head coach interview since Mike Smith in 2008.
Yeah.
Just think about that. And what does that say in terms of where your process has been and where the rest of the league is and why you need to follow where the rest of the league is?
But it's a little ironic, Taylor, that they hired Liam Cohen, the Jaguars did, and no other team had requested to interview him.
But if he was to have stayed in Tampa for another year, you tell me, Lauren.
Yeah, I think it would have
Depends
been.
on if the offense was as good.
What it was this year. Yeah.
I mean, things can go backwards. We saw that with the Texans coordinator and Bobby Slowick. He was the hot guy, and then all of a sudden things didn't go according to plan, and he was fired.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to Liam Cohen, that is part of it. I think the hesitations for a lot of people were that it was only a 1 year as an OC and calling plays in the NFL. So some people hesitated and did want to see that for one more year. And the back and forth we heard a lot between college and the NFL was another thing that put brakes on it. But I do think that another year of what he did with Baker, then it would have opened up to a lot of other people. And I think when it comes to the general manager search, and we've talked about this, it's so much more difficult because you really don't know these guys that as just inside the building probably know a lot more than a lot of us know of what they were a part of directly in these organizations and what players they really were scouting and which ones they liked and brought in and drafted and free agents, whether they are a college scout or a pro scout. But I do think somebody like Ian Cunningham, it's been a few years now that his name has been out there. This has been a conversation in Chicago for 3 years of you're going to lose Ian Cunningham soon. So start already thinking about what's next. James Gladstone, I do think that is a name that this year, if he's not hired by the Jaguars this year, next year, when we are starting to talk general manager for whoever that may be, he is going to be towards the top of the list for a lot of teams.
But like a Mike Borgonzi was the assistant GM for the Chiefs for so long, and clearly that's one of the best organizations, if not the best right now in all of the NFL at drafting, and yet it took him a long time to get a job. So I don't know that there's one
He was requested
path.
for tons of interviews,
Right.
though, to
So
be
he's
clear.
not winning his interviews, whatever he's doing.
Right, but the point is...
Or maybe they just thought that it wasn't him that's
right.
doing it.
That's right, because
how it's
people
so hard
around
to
him have
decipher.
been hired. Ryan Polis came from that. There's
Right.
a lot of people who have been hired in those positions. So there's something in that realm where it did take a little bit longer for people to see the part he was in that organization.
Or that he's the right fit for their organization. But nonetheless, teams did mill around the Kansas City Chiefs for obvious reasons, given the fact that they've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 6 years. But they have also milled around them because clearly their scouting department under Brett Veach was doing something right, and they wanted to pluck from that tree. Who's milling around the Jaguars tree?
Yeah, no one right now.
And so why would
They're
you
staying away from the
continue-
Jaguars tree.
Why would you continue down that path?
Yeah.
Right. But what's crazy, though, is like the Giants. The Jaguars requested an interview with someone from the Giants, and the Giants have also been an organization that why would you want someone that's worked there?
Well, Brandon Brown, and I do want to, I'm glad you brought that up, Lauren, as our first guest has arrived, so we'll get to her here in just a second. But I'm glad you brought that up because off the text line, I missed you so much, text line, which you can reach us at 904-641-1010. 449 asks, Gladstone should be the only answer when it comes to the GM. He's been with the Rams. Look what the Rams have done. What has Ian Cunningham done? Miss on a quarterback. Ian Cunningham began his scouting career with the Baltimore Ravens for a decade. Then he was with the Philadelphia Eagles for almost a decade, and now has been with the Chicago Bears for almost 3 years. So let's pair that with Brandon Brown, who the Giants assistant general manager, the Jaguars requested, and he did conduct a first-round interview. He spent his formative scouting years with the Philadelphia Eagles organization. So as much as, yes, their current job title and whatever tree they're on is a cause for concern, where did they spend the bulk of their career up to this point?
Yeah. And Taylor and I talked about it yesterday, Mia. I like John Eric Sullivan and his track record with the Packers and the familiarity he has with the organization. But I heard Hayes say on the Frangie show he thinks he doesn't have a great chance at getting the job. He does think it's more like what we're talking about, Ian Cunningham, James Gladstone. I was just more intrigued because Sullivan was not one of the first names that was amongst the interview requests. So where did he come along a little bit later in the process? And so maybe that meant that he had a better chance. Certainly we'll see. The combine begins on Monday. So the clock ticks between now and then. But welcome back from vacation.
Thank you.
How are the Keys?
Amazing.
Had you ever been there before?
I had never been before to any of the Keys.
Have you been to the Keys?
I haven't actually, no.
Yep. So
I used to go every summer. One of the best places on earth.
Yeah, it was amazing. So we made the decision. We did not stay in Key West. We stayed a little bit in the northern island, the upper islands, I guess it's called.
Faster to get there.
Very much faster to get there. We did go to Key West for a day, so did get to see everything down there, which is, I mean, it's one of those places you got to go to see it to believe it.
It's kind of like Nashville in as far as there's there's entertainment constantly.
Yeah.
But it's way more island laid back vibe than obviously.
We described it as it's like Savannah meets New Orleans, meets a little Charleston, meets a little Nashville, but it's
like all tank tops and flip flops. Like all those places are
open container policy too.
Right,
a
little classier.
But no, it was a lot of fun. But yes, there was an intent, and that is my word for 2025 is intentional. There was an intent to try to disconnect as much as possible. At the very least, I've never had my phone on Do Not Disturb for that long. So shout out to those of you like Taylor who can go full
Just
days.
keep my life on.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the best thing for my health, especially knowing, yes, I do have to go to Indianapolis next week.
Yeah, I will be going to Puerto Rico soon. It's easy for me to disconnect. Other than work stuff, outside of that, social media, I can easily leave behind for a week. All right, Mia mentioned our first guest is in the house. We will check in with Miranda Rossum, PGA Tour Public Relations and Outreach, as we talk playas, and we do have tickets to give away. So keep it right here on Helmets and Heels on an epic cool Heating and Air Tuesday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Bone-crushing blows to game-winning goals. Yes! Feel the energy on 1010XL. History! Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, they know how to stop termites, and they did it at my house. These destructive pests may have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so does Terminix, and their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem. I certainly didn't want to. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. In the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, and still, Awaken 180 continues to stand alone as the proven solution for weight loss online at awaken180weightloss.com.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com, enter 1010 for a discount.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Are you ready to sell your home? I got an easy game plan. Call Chad and Sandy, the only agents I would call to sell my home. The economy is showing positive signs. It might be time to sell, and your home will get you the price you want with Chad and Sandy. It's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who eat, drink, and sleep local real estate. Call agents Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Guess what? You don't need to. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. But it comes down to the Chad and Sandy guarantee. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. all problems have disappeared. Pete in Lakeshore says, I was in a pickle. I needed to cash out on a rental property fast. I was struggling to rent. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio, called. I had an offer for full asking price within days. Join the local success stories by calling Chad and Sandy at 904-414-6200 or going to chadandsandy.com.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Epic announcement. It's been cold in Florida. Epic Cool Heating and Air will tune up that furnace and keep you epically warm. Stay epically comfortable and visit epichvacservice.com. That's epichvacservice.com.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
If you're at home on the range, tee it up with the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Tour news, local updates, and the latest gear. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for 10, the pork and rib combo for 12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
The people of the PGA Tour and the players are just so generous. And as we welcome in our first guest today, Miranda Ross on PGA Tour Public Relations and Outreach, and you came bearing gifts, so thank you, Miranda.
Of course.
Very excited about the new player shirts.
Yeah, I know. I always like to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what you can expect at the fan shop.
Open it up for the YouTube audience. You know it's coming. I wore mine yesterday on my drive back from the Keys, so I have the pink one, and it's got the Sawgrass splash on the back, and I'm so glad you brought this one because now I've got the
pink and blue.
I have the matching blue one as well, folks. Only at the players. You know, this is why you want to go.
They are fantastic. So speaking of that, because I've heard some cool stuff coming up with all of the new merch and the kind of different layout and things going on. So share with us what to look forward to in that world.
Yeah, so the fan shop's gotten like a whole, I don't want to say facelift because it was already awesome before, but it's gotten a whole refresh. It'll be pretty much unrecognizable. It's going to be so like futuristic, and there's going to be a DJ in there like always.
Wow.
Let's
But
go.
As if it wasn't
Really
already
get
exciting
people spending
enough.
money.
And it's got the best AC on the course.
That's
which
true.
is always great for a little bit of a reprieve. But it's bigger than ever. I think it's like 40,000 square feet, which is ridiculous. There's, the wall of hats. Buc-ee's has their wall of jerky. We have our wall of hats. But it's got a lot of new brands this year. We have Roback coming in. We're doing a collaboration with LaFarve. Which is going to be really cool. They're going to drop it.
E.T., I don't know if he's still wandering around, but he has
his LaFarve today.
He's got his players LaFarve. I have mine too. I've been wearing it as well.
It's really cool, and they're I think going to do like a really cool rollout on social. I'm excited, and we're excited to like be able to partner with like local brands too. So there's going to be that. All of your favorite brands are coming back. You got your Lululemon, you've got your Peter Millar. So all of that, it's going to be insane. And then it's opening up before the tournament, which I think everyone knows is the best kept secret of the players. 10 to 4, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We made it easy for you this year. I know it used to be like different hours.
Yeah.
Simplified it. 10 to 4, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Be there.
And I love it because we will be there on Friday. We will be there from 12 to 2. Lauren, unfortunately, will be on vacation, but Taylor and I are very excited for a preview party on that Friday, March 7th.
Yes.
Yes, that's the correct date. And so, of course, make sure you get out there March 7th, 8th, and 9th. And so you get ahead of it. You get your players' gear before it is sold out. All right, well, we had to lead with the merch. What else is new at the Players' Championship, Miranda, in 2025?
All right, so number 2 most important thing, food.
I thought it was going to be parking, but yes, we will gladly accept food. Yes.
So new this year, we have our friends Bagels R Us are coming.
yes,
so
so
all
nice.
of our friends looking to carbo load at the tournament. And then our friends that love burgers, we have Carolina Jacks that are coming. And then Doe Bell is doing like a little tequila tasting at Taco Lou. So a little fiesta on 12.
Love that.
So that's like our big food, what's new. And then I think like the most exciting thing for a fan, I would say, is on Wednesday, we have what's called the Creator Classic coming to the event, which is the first time I think that we've added like a new event in a very long time. Like we've had the military appreciation on Tuesday, but we're actually adding something new, which is where we're going to have a little mini tournament after play on Wednesday, starting at 4:15. with all of your favorite content creators, which I'm not big into YouTube golf. But if you are, this is like awesome.
Are we talking like the no laying up guys? Are we talking about, I mean, is Bryson going to be in the field for that tournament? I know he's not eligible to play in the players, but technically he is a content creator.
That is a good point. I think they're dropping the field this week. So everyone stay tuned. But we did this at Tour Championship, and I was there, and it was awesome. We had Barstool Sports. We had No Laying Up. We had Bob Does Sports, Good.
Gabby Golfer. Who I discovered
Paige
exists since she was at Media Day with her whole film crew.
Yeah, it was really cool. Bob Does Sports. Dude Perfect. That's another big name. So,
so what's the setup of that? Like that people live there come watch it, or okay?
Yeah. So and that's what's cool about it is like Wednesday's our cheapest day. Tickets start at $30. So like if you're a family of 4, you know,
and that gets you for the whole day for the actual
so
practice rounds, and then that. Okay.
So mom, dad get in, and then 2 kids get in free with every ticketed adult. So, you know, whole family can get in for $60 and you can stay, watch all your favorite golfers, and then you can watch all of your favorite YouTubers go off afterwards.
It's so 2025.
I know. It's like if you're a 15-year-old boy, like this is awesome. But
real quick, back to the burgers. Because like you said, food is the second most important thing besides the merch. You guys do, I remember from our earliest call in preparation for the 2025 tournament, there's a special new client too with a certain stovetop. Is that
Blackstone?
There it is. Tell us more about that.
They're doing a signature burger as well. They have like a executive chef that put together a special burger that will be unveiled at the event as well. So
like a smash burger?
Yeah. So and they'll be having that on their fancy griddles as well. So you have that to look forward to. So if you like burgers,
you're
dial
set.
it up. And as well as everyone knows, if you like barbecue, you're also set. There's no shortage of barbecue at the Players Championship.
Which, speaking of that, before we let you go later, we're going to give away $25 to ABBQ and 2 tickets to Wednesday's practice round / the content creator event as well. So we'll give that away in a little bit. You mentioned parking, Mia, but as far as tickets, last year I know Saturday, for the first time in a long time, completely sold out. So people need to not just get their parking, but they need to get their tickets, especially for Saturday now, right?
That's correct. Couldn't have said it better myself. It was so exciting, for us at least, to have a sellout for the first time ever. And we want that. Well, we don't want it to happen, but we want more people to come, but we want people to come early, and we especially want our local fans to be able to get their tickets. So we encourage everyone to get them now, and tickets are dynamically priced, so it'll be cheaper if you buy it today versus if you buy it Friday right beforehand. So buy them now and buy them while they're cheap. So
dynamically priced.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that
a good word?
Public relations.
Well, especially because someone on the YouTube chat said to make sure you use the term less expensive, never use the word cheap when selling. Dynamically priced. There it is. How do we like that one, Jim?
I love it. When do we start seeing, or have we started seeing the field names roll in?
So they've been committing, but it's the Players Championship. It's our signature event.
Yeah.
Like we expect everyone to play. It's never. It's going to be the
outside
144
of Tiger.
best.
Yeah.
It's going to be the 144 best golfers in the world competing. It's never, we always say it's not a surprise.
Yeah, I know. You know who's going to be there.
Right. Minus, of course, like I said, the Tiger factor of, you know.
I don't know if he's still the 144th best golfer in the world at this point in time, honestly.
I think that he will.
I'm not saying he wouldn't be
invited.
I think he would get the dynamic ticket prices to go up a little bit more, or at the very least, maybe get some more eyeballs out there.
Yeah, I mean,
for better or worse.
Golf is always better when Tiger is playing well, but you know, at least we get to watch him playing TGL right now, so it's been nice to have that. But there's been a lot of like really great young names, you know, coming up. Like, you know, we had Ludwig
over the weekend.
Yeah, so he'll be there. Northeast Florida zone. Actually, he just moved here, so
Actually, Joe
hometown
Cowher
hero.
was telling us that yesterday.
Ponte Vedra resident.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people on tour. All right, so for the Tuesday military appreciation, people love Jordan Davis, but if they've never been, tell them kind of the layout of the day.
Yeah, so it'll be similar to how we talked about with the Creator Classic. Your Tuesday ticket, which is starts at $40 right now, dynamically priced though. That'll get you in to watch all of your favorite players as they practice on Tuesday. So you'll still get to see all of your favorite golfers. And then afterwards, as we wrap up, they'll quickly shift over. They'll have a military appreciation ceremony. We'll have a flyover. There will be some sort of military surprise. Normally it's some sort of tearjerker, you know,
always.
Surprise homecoming. You know, we pay off someone's mortgage. It's really fun. Probably canines for warriors. We always love dogs.
We got to walk in right next to them last year, and it took all I had not to pet those dogs.
I know. It's like so much restraint.
There was like 20 of them. I'm like, this is heaven, but not because I can't pet them.
I know. But they're so well behaved and so great, obviously, for their servicemen and women, too. But yeah, so the concert starts around 5:30?
Yes. And then, so it'll be Jordan Davis, which will be really fun, and it's about an hour. And so he was here, he opened for Luke Combs this past summer, and he's fantastic, and we're really excited.
He also played at Daly's Place a couple years ago, because we did our show right outside of Daly's Place that was the Constellation Furyk and Friends. So maybe Jim Furyk, Tabitha Furyk helped in getting Jordan Davis here?
Yeah, he's a huge golf fan too, so he's really excited.
I'm guessing he gets to play the course.
Yeah, he's had nothing but great things to say about the area, about golf, about the service members. So it's always excited when they're excited to come.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's going to put on a really good show, and we're excited for that one. So
love it.
All right, it's time now for our giveaway. Caller number what, Miranda?
17.
17.
Oh, wow.
Okay. RJ, if you want to do 7, that's perfectly fine.
Let's do 7. I love that, though.
641-1010. 904-641-1010. That's right. We will see you on 17. Miranda, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And again, $25 to ABBQ and a pair of tickets to the Wednesday practice round, as well as the Creator Classic that comes up right after around 4:15. It's Helmets and Heels on an epic cool heating and air Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Every day is a perfect day for football on Jacksonville's football station. Just lock your radio on 1010XL to get your year-round football fix. 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Mia here. You want to know what's better than a sale? A sale on top of a sale, right? And that's exactly what's going on now at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned during their Everything's on Sale sale. Just how on sale is it? How about 0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2022 Toyota Corolla? Or you choose a pre-owned 2021 Camry RAV4 Tacoma for 0 down and only $388 per month. But that's not all. I mean, this is a sale on top of a sale where everything is on sale. And that's why my friends at Arlington are offering you no payments till July 2025. Yup, you heard that right. July 2025, no payments. Plus, Arlington's lot is packed with over 600 vehicles, and you get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. It's official. It's a sale on top of a sale during the Everything's on Sale sale at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. That's some kind of sale. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Craft beers, food trucks, live music, and more beer at the Riverside Craft Beer Festival this Sunday afternoon at Riverside Arts Market. Get your tickets at riversidecraftbeerfestival.com. Proceeds benefit Community Pete's Care and the Rotary Foundation.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
This is Hayes Carlion for Physician Guided Weight Loss. I'm down 20 pounds already thanks to Physician Guided Weight Loss. I feel great, and it's all thanks to them. Their amazing technology, fast setup, friendly staff, and proven results have sold me. They can help you too, and it's affordable with firm pricing. No rising costs as you go. If you're like me and looking to kick off the new year with a leaner body, call my friends at Physician Guided Weight Loss at 257-4344. That's 257-4344.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 18, 1981, 20-year-old Edmonton center Wayne Gretzky becomes the first player in NHL history to score 5 career hat tricks before age 21.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Anthony. Have you been charged with a crime? You don't have to face it alone. I'm here for you. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me. 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW in the 904.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Better known, Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror, fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this epic cool heating and air Tuesday. Remember, there are discounts for new AC systems. You can save up to $895 on a new AC unit. And our friends at Epic Cool Heating and Air are official partners of the Jacksonville Sharks. Thanks again to Miranda for popping in and talking all things players. And I'm sure caller number 17 was just made very happy.
I love this from 476 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. I want to have a challenge to hackle the YouTubers as they play. Heckle, excuse me. Hackle for hacker. That's what I female hacker here. But the YouTubers and the Creator Content Classic, put that on TV. I will be glued to the TV just as much as the final round of the players.
That's funny. Miranda did tell us off air that it will be streamed. So you can, if you can't make it out to the Creator Classic, you will be able to view it on, I'm sure, the streaming platforms. They'll let us know what. But yeah, it sounds like a super fun thing, especially if you're in that young demographic that, look, every sport is trying to connect with the younger audience and grow the game. And so certainly that's a very smart thing. And again, that comes up on Wednesday, the day after the Military Appreciation Concert with Jordan Davis. All right, let's get it back to the NFL, I should say, since we started talking Jaguars. The franchise tag deadline is rapidly coming up. It's March 4th, but it opened today.
Mm-hmm.
There was one player tagged last year in all of the NFL, one player. That was T. Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
Some think the Bengals are going to franchise tag him again. That means he'll be paid a cool $26.2 million, of course, guaranteed for 1 year. And I heard Mike and Tony on Jaguars Today say that's a bargain. Crazy to think that $26 million for a receiver is a bargain, but that's where we stand in 2025. What do you think happens with T. Higgins? He did not sign the extension, so I think he would like to be a free agent and get a much, much more lucrative and longer-term deal than 1 year, $26 million.
I think the other side of the coin here, Lauren, is the Bengals understand that their time with T. Higgins is, or could, I should say, could be running short. And so if they are to lose him, they don't want to lose him and get nothing in return. Yes, you would certainly get a comp pick, and that would be as high as a third rounder. But if you can flip him for a first or a second, you would much rather do that. And so that's the game I believe Cincinnati is playing right now.
That they'll place him on the franchise tag, but the non-exclusive.
Right. And then it would be a tag and trade situation where, even if it's non-exclusive. So if it's non-exclusive, he and his agent can go out and they can find an offer that matches or exceeds what the Bengals are willing to give him. But I don't even know if it's exclusive versus non-exclusive. Like, I could see this as a true tag and trade where the Bengals are the one controlling the purse strings truly. Like, they could go to the Patriots and say, okay, you're going to give us 2 firsts for T. Great, we'll do it. And T. Higgins could be like, well, I don't want to go to New England. Oh, too bad. Tagged, traded away.
What happens in that sense with the other team? Do they just get the one tag year, or do they have to have a contract ready to be placed? Do you know that?
Yeah. So if it's exclusive, then no, he could play just on the tag.
Yeah.
If it's non-exclusive, then yes, they would have to have a contract in place. I would think if you're any of these teams, you would
be willing to
to negotiate a contract with him. Now, of course, the other side of that is, let's say that he's traded to New England and it's exclusive, and he doesn't want to be there. Well, then he'll play on the 1 year franchise tag, and the Patriots just gave up 2 first rounders for someone who either A is only going to play 1 year, or B, in the case of whether it's the Le'Veon Bells of the world, the Hassan Reddicks of the world. Not that those two guys. Well, I guess Le'Veon was technically on the tag, but you could have a situation where he's traded and then he just says, "I'm not going to play here." And then he holds out.
Yeah.
You don't really ever want to bring a player in that you don't think you can keep long term when it's someone, I would say, to the ability of a T. Higgins. Obviously, the Bengals also have to pay Jamar Chase and Trey Hendrickson, and those guys are both expecting massive paydays. And so that's where Joe Burrow has certainly had the luxury of having 2 number one, I'll call them both, number 1 receivers in Chase and T. Higgins. But the problem is you can't, when you've already paid Joe Burrow, you can't keep paying all these players at the highest level at their positions and be able to then afford other good players. And we know what was the Bengals' issue this year.
The defense and their offensive line.
A lot, yes.
Yeah,
they had
the defense.
They had the 30th ranked offensive line in the league, and their defense was also an issue, but their offensive line has been an issue since the beginning. And yes, I think Joe Burrow can get around that. We've seen that with this year he just had. But at some point, you also want to show Joe Burrow that you're willing to help him in that area, because you can't keep expecting him to have a season like he did this last year when he has no time to do anything. You can't run the ball because also your line sucks, so that puts even more on Joe Burrow. And God forbid you lose Joe Burrow again, because there has been several injuries with Burrow. The people coming behind him can't get you through without an offensive line and without a run game. So you've got to start thinking about that stuff. And we use that, the NFL, the teams already use that. Well, it's a business. And so for them, they're thinking about it in the light of, well, we can tag him. It's that 26, so it is kind of a steal because there's guys making 36 right now, and that next wave of wide receivers are probably getting more than that. So we are kind of he only played in 12 games this year and still was close to 1,000 yards with 10 touchdowns. Like T. Higgins is one of the better receivers in the NFL, and the team knows that. The Bengals know they're looking at this. I think the league knows that. But in T. Higgins' case, he's 26. He turns 27 this year. He's also like, I want to know I'm going to be somewhere and that I'm going to be making money for the next 4, 5, 6 years because I'm 26 years old, and I know that's not old to us, but once they start approaching that 30, you are kind of considered that, so you want to make your money before you get there.
Hey, now.
Well, you want that guaranteed money for sure, and that's what comes with that second contract.
They did help Joe Burrow this morning, the Cincinnati Bengals. They extended their punter, Ryan Reckow, through 2026. Duh. That's helping Joe Burrow.
The other issue is the Bengals franchise has long been known to be one of the cheaper ones.
Yeah.
Like, we can use that phrase on them, or that word on them. And so I know Joe Burrow has to look at all of this too and wonder, is there enough money, or is the owner, the Brown family, are they going to spend up to the absolute cap?
Yeah.
Or am I going to eventually never make it back to a Super Bowl because they're not willing to pay some of these guys? I know Trevor Lawrence obviously was asked about T. Higgins on the Kay Adams podcast. And of course he said, well, T knows Joe really well, but I think I'm the second, guy in line as far as quarterbacks are concerned. I don't necessarily see that happening, but it would be great if the Brian Thomas Jr. and T. Higgins lined up opposite each other.
Hey, listen, never say never. The salary cap is fake, but I do think that if you were to bring in T. Higgins, you certainly would have to have some form of a plan in terms of how would you compensate him. Because to Taylor's point, I think he does want to know, like, hey, this is where I'm going to be for X amount of years.
Right. And then that circles back to Christian Kirk and how much money is owed to him. And
how much is owed to Gabe Davis at this current juncture.
Yeah. Certainly more to Kirk than Gabe Davis. But yeah, that as of now, unless Gabe performs this year, that's going to be one of the worst free agent signings in Jaguars history.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, just thinking about this, because I was looking at positionally the money that the Bengals are spending at each position, and there's breakdowns obviously on like over the cap and stuff like that. But the crazy part is that the Jags are spending for almost $20,000 more on their wide receivers, and the Bengals have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
And it's because, when the Jaguars got Christian Kirk, obviously they gave him a lot of money, and then they went ahead and restructured, and so yeah, it's expensive. And yeah, like you said, Gabe Davis in addition to that as well. All right, so before the season, we each picked teams that we thought could win the Super Bowl or should win the Super Bowl. All four of us had the Chiefs. Almost won the Super Bowl. At least, I shouldn't say almost won the Super Bowl. They got blown out, but they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They got close.
Kind of there.
Yeah. We all had the Bengals. So wrong, obviously, on that one. Again, issues with the defense, massive issues with the defense, some issues with the line. The 49ers, a swing and a miss on that one as well because of so many injuries, I'll say, but also I'm not sure the direction that the 49ers are heading because they have a decision to make on Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I think that's
a
lot
of Ayuk and a lot of things.
Right.
Sure. Debo.
I think even more of it stems from the role that Christian McCaffrey played in the 2023 season for them, and perhaps
even though every running back that came in still was successful.
But then they kept getting hurt. Yeah. It covered up a lot of warts, though, having Christian McCaffrey do what he does. And quite frankly, people want to talk about Kyle Shanahan's offense and, how it's this pass-friendly offense. It's predicated on the run.
Yeah.
And when you're down to your fourth-string running back and your first-string running back is an all-pro and potentially the best in the league, at the very least, both running the ball and out of the backfield, and now you're without him, like that's – you literally took I want to give a NASCAR term because of Daytona this weekend. What was Joey Logano, the throttle? You literally took the throttle out and said, okay, go ahead, like try to figure out how to drive the car. You probably can drive it, but it's not going to be pretty.
Everyone hates Joey Logano. All right.
Exactly.
The other team.
His throttle had the issues. So and the way they showed it and where it is in the race car, that's why it was the first place my head went.
So all four of us also picked the Ravens. So we picked the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Bengals. The Ravens were certainly in the postseason, then lost to the Bills in the divisional round, and then the Bills, of course, lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. All right, so then, Taylor, you had the Cowboys, Lions, Dolphins, Jets.
Yeah. Well, the Lions, obviously. I've been high on the Lions a lot. Yeah, and I think Dak was a big part of Dak getting hurt Dallas in general. And that's the problem with this when you're projecting things like this. Like, obviously, the 49ers and the Bengals. The Bengals were and I was just looking back at when we did our back and forth, our kind of argument of who we thought should win MVP. Yeah, so they had the 30th ranked offensive line and the 31st ranked defense. Like, that's how when it comes to EPA.
The Jaguars were 32nd?
I don't think so,
defense? No?
actually.
Okay.
I don't think so. But they were down there. I think they were like 29th or something like that. But so that just shows how much those things factored into the Bengals. And then the 49ers, once you start calculating in injuries and stuff, that's really messes up your whole plan of everything. But I don't know why I picked the Jets, honestly, because I
that's the one.
I don't remember saying
boom
that.
or bust. It was either it was going to work out or it was going to, in the words of what I said when Urban Meyer became the head coach here, it's either going to be a dumpster fire or a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
Like, there's no in between. It was always going to be one or the other.
It's just weird because I've been down on Aaron, like even his last year in Green Bay, I was like, he's not the same. I guess my only thing is their defense was supposed to be like
they were supposed to be
the top
away.
3 defenses, and if Aaron could just do enough and looking at that division, I thought they had a chance, and maybe that's why. But I'm like, I think I was drunk that day.
and then the Dolphins as well. I also had the Dolphins, and then I went Packers, Eagles, and get ready to laugh, Jaguars.
Yeah.
Those were my 4.
Look,
the Eagles, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
The Packers, decent team. A lot of people had Chiefs Packers in the Super Bowl, which was one of mine. But the Jaguars, like I thought last year the Jaguars could win the Super Bowl. What was I smoking?
No, I mean, quite frankly, and because
you always smoke that happy stuff when it comes to the
that's true, but I mean, I had 4 days of no cell phone to discuss and manifest and marinate on this. Ryan Nielsen as a DC. Has there been another coordinator hire by the Jaguars in the last 25 years that fell short from what we were told? It's going to go down as one of the worst.
That much, especially.
Right, because this time a year ago, flew out to Indianapolis for the Combine. Multiple people from the Atlanta and New Orleans contingents came up to us and said, he's a future head coach. You guys got it right. You're right back in the thick of this Jacksonville. Like, I'm not making it up. Like
his wife being diagnosed with cancer, and I don't know exactly when that the diagnosis was, but obviously I know she was battling throughout this year. That's the one thing that I go back to is maybe he just wasn't able to be fully invested because of that, or he just eventually had the wrong plan of attack for the
and wasn't able
had.
to shift. And that I think that was a lot of the problem because we were seeing early on in the season that there were issues defensively, and rather than fixing those, trying to, whether it was second half adjustments or just adjusting in general, I almost feel like he came in with this certain plan saying, I have this personnel to do this, this, and this, and he didn't quite have that, and there wasn't a backup plan. And so I do think, because we had so many people, on to your point, Mia, the amount of people that would call in here and be like, the X factor this season is Ryan Nielsen. Like, that is going to help your guys' defense
Best
so much.
Off-season pickup.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I remember saying. Like, I think that was the biggest free agent addition was Ryan Nielsen, not even Eric Armstead or Mitch Morse or anything. Mia, your team's Lions, Eagles, Packers, Jets. So you and Taylor both had the Jets. Who are the 2 teams that were in the Final Four who none of us picked? Which, not surprised none of us picked the Commanders.
The Commanders,
because
right. Both of you picked them as an upset team.
I didn't think they were going that far.
I was afraid.
Yeah.
I was afraid.
And I'm sure that will be different this year. And the Bills, because of the lack of receivers and everything.
Yeah.
And yet the Bills, like I said, one of the best teams
Josh
in
had
all of
one
the
of his
NFL.
career years.
He won the MVP for the first time. So we just completely bypassed that and said, now they're going to take a step back.
Yeah. I just thought it would take another year, because in my head I was like, okay. And I was very high on Khalil Shakir, so it wasn't even that I thought they had nothing. I just thought it was going to give it another year. Keon Coleman gets a little more comfortable. He's more adjusted to like Khalil Shakir being his guy. I also didn't realize how much of a factor James Cook was going to be for their offense either.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't know, like, the last 6 games of the 2023 season when Joe Brady was the primary play caller and they leaned into the run. Was that an omen of what was to come? Would they actually be able to sustain it year over year? And the answer is yes, because quietly behind the scenes, Brandon Beane was building an offensive line that was more than capable of not only being able to block up front for Josh Allen, but run the ball as well.
Yes, and the Commanders, certainly the biggest surprise in all of the NFL this year. But the Lions, we also didn't know that they were going to be decimated by injury and have multiple people, umpteen people on injured reserve just on the defensive side of the ball. I think it was 14. And so that also is, again, you can't predict that kind of stuff, nor do you want to predict injuries for teams like that. But I think the Packers might be a quiet team this offseason that not a lot of people are focusing on. And it's more fascinating, I think, now for me, Mia, because we have Anthony Campanile from the Packers organization. And so I'm interested to see kind of how they treat their offseason.
I would argue they were the talk of Super Bowl Radio Row after what Josh Jacobs said about, the lack of the alpha, the lack
of a wide receiver, like having that true number one wide receiver.
Yeah, and that's going to be, especially with Christian Watson battling a knee injury, that will probably, at the very least, I don't want to say force him to miss the first few weeks of the season, but it's still going to be a little dicey there.
Yeah.
And then Romeo Doubs has battled injuries.
They're wide receivers. I don't think they have a true number one. They've had a lot of injuries. I also think people have kind of figured out Jordan Love a little bit, and they've figured out that when you pressure Jordan Love, he struggles. He had the worst QBR and rating and everything in the league when he's pressured, and teams started doing that a lot towards the end, and that's when he was throwing. He had that string of like 6-7 games straight with picks. So I do think they've started to be figured out a little bit, but I think Matt LaFleur is one of the better coaches in the league too. So how does he rebound from all of these things that people have started to figure out? Do they go spend on, let's get Jordan Love a true number one and help him out a little bit? I don't know, but I hope not. I hope they just keep letting it go with whatever.
Yeah, I guess by quiet I meant they don't seem to be as criticized as some other teams that also had really lofty expectations.
Yeah.
Like certainly the Lions lost both coordinators. That's a massive storyline. I just don't feel like the Cowboys and everything that's going on in Dallas, new head coach.
Yeah, especially what Campanile did with their defensive line. And when we talk about the run game and how much he helped in that area, that is huge, because we've seen directly here how if the coach isn't right, it doesn't work.
We've seen everything.
Yeah, we've seen it all. We could write a whole book on the things we've seen. But in that, if the coaching is not right, then it doesn't always transfer, even if you maybe do feel like you have the personnel to do it. And so it will be fascinating to see how much they put offensively into some of the stuff, and how much of a hit Anthony Campanile is.
Yeah, it will be fun. And we have confirmed it's Campanile.
Yes.
Anthony Campanile. If you don't want to pronounce it, just call him Coach Camp. It is an epic cool heating and air Tuesday. We've had such crazy weather swings lately, so make sure that your air conditioning and heating is maintained. That is very important. You can call Epic at 904-859-EPIC or find them online, epichvacservice.com. That's epichvacservice.com. Our Heels highlights are on the other side. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The longer you listen,
I thought the play was exceptional.
the more you learn about your home team. We stay close to the Jags, so you can too. 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here. New Year's resolutions are upon us, but let's be honest. It's February 18th, and that gym membership already feels like a $50 per month guilt trip. Why not take that cash and finally fix that leaky faucet, unclog that drain, or tune up that AC? Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning has your back. Visit duckduckrooter.com or call today, 904-862-6769. Start the year off fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses. Duck Duck Rooter, 904-862-6769.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Hey folks, Nick here for Zero Res, and if you still have a little bit of time for the hottest price of the year on carpet cleaning, maybe you had people over for the game or you're doing early spring cleaning, but in February, only $147 for 3 rooms, plus the 4th room is free. That's right, schedule now and you'll get 3 rooms for $147, and the 4th room is free. Yeah, the 4th room is on me. Hottest price of the year. Zero Res. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res.
The best teal-colored coverage includes Mia's quick hits.
Get the latest news from inside the building and around the league. I'm Mia O'Brien, 1010XL's NFL Insider.
Driven by Arlington Toyota. Available on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Janice. I'm a coach at Awaken 180 Weight Loss. When a client reaches the goal that they've set, they are so proud of themselves. They are so thrilled with how they look and how they feel. They are ready to take on the next thing. And that's one thing about weight loss. It's so much more than a number on a scale. It's about self-respect. It's a momentum thing. Now that I've lost 50 pounds, wow, there's no reason why I can't do this next thing that initially seemed so daunting, but now I know I can do it. The celebration is not just how much better you look and feel, but how much more self-respect you have. We get on a track of success at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Losing weight with Awaken 180 isn't about the number on the scale. It's about how that number spearheads endless success. Bring your goals to Awaken 180, then celebrate when you check off each and every one of them. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
From humble origins on Beach Boulevard to the grandeur of the old homestead, Taco Lou has bucked the odds, selling cheap tacos and even cheaper beers since 2008. I'll be the first to lament that nothing is cheap anymore, but much has not changed in 17 years. Bangin' Shrimp still rocks, margaritas flow day and night, and we love to see old friends and make new friends every day. You can still spin the wheel or sit outside on the patio in the sun with friends and family. It's been a ton of fun, and we have you, Jacksonville, to thank for 17 years. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
Pick an ear for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
With your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by the First Coast YMCA. The Florida Gators depth continues to show up as they move up in the rankings to the second spot, ready to host Oklahoma tonight. Gators head coach Todd Golden believes the biggest key to their success for the rest of the way is to remain unselfish.
We have to remain unselfish. I think that's going to be the biggest key to our success the rest of the way. It's going to be a different guy every night. Some guys aren't going to be playing as much as they want every night, and we just can't allow that to affect us big picture-wise in terms of our goals. And if we can continue to channel that, our team's been incredibly unselfish this year. If we can continue to be that way the rest of the way, I think it will prove to be very good for us. It's a daily challenge.
Gators in Oklahoma tonight in the O-Dome at 7 p.m. Hear the game live on 1010 a.m. JU basketball gets back on the court on the road today as they take on the FGCU Eagles, hoping to bounce back from their loss this weekend to North Alabama. The Eagles and Dolphins tonight at 6:30. You can hear that game live on the 1010 a.m. stream. It's 66 degrees at 12:59. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels. It is an epic, cool Heating and Air Tuesday. Give them a call, 904-859-EPIC. As you just heard in Molly's update, we've got lots of college basketball going on tonight. You've got UNF in action, JU in action, Florida in action, and then FSU not until tomorrow night. But a lot as the season is winding down here to pay attention to. I'll give you more information on that in a second. But first, time for our highlights.
Now, here's highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
Just hours after losing his mom to her battle with cancer, Cade Ballou hits a home run to lift Auburn 3-1 over Holy Cross.
A tough night. Cade lost his mom earlier today. Chose to play for Auburn tonight. Cade Ballou, a big drive, deep right. That ball's out of here. Cade Ballou hits one out for his mom. On an emotional day, one that truthfully no one in this ballpark can understand or imagine the feeling of one, how special the home run was, but two, what it meant.
Juju Watkins goes off for 38 points and stuffs the stat sheet as USC defeats the last undefeated in women's basketball, UCLA.
Juju Watkins gets her 7th block of the game and then goes coast to coast on the dish.
It's so nice we have to hear it again. Auburn's Cade Ballou homers hours after he lost his mom to cancer.
Here for a while. Cade Ballou, a big drive, deep right. That ball's out of here. Cade Ballou hits one out for his mom.
Taylor, had I known we would have the same highlight, I would have pivoted and gone to, I don't know, I could have picked the fact that Florida had 2 10s in the gymnastics meet Friday night. That's right, 2 perfect 10s. Sloan Blakely had one on floor, Leanne Wong on beam. Still none on bars yet, but I'm sure that's coming. Or I could have done the Florida women's basketball game when at the buzzer, Florida beats Mississippi State. That was super exciting as the senior guard, Warren, hit that 3. But instead, we both went with Cade Ballou. That is the Auburn left fielder who, if you missed the story over the weekend, it was incredibly emotional. When I had to decide on my highlight yesterday, I don't know about you, Taylor, but you have to watch the video a few times, to be able to tell RJ exactly where to start and end.
Yeah.
I literally cried every single time I watched it, and tears were just streaming down my face. His mom had been battling cancer. She passed away early Friday morning. His first phone call after obviously talking to his family was to call his head coach there at Auburn, tell him, I'm going to play. That's what my mom would have wanted. And then he hits the home run, and Auburn was victorious on Friday. Literally chills if you watch all the different videos with his teammates celebrating him, his coach talking about him after the game, and how much, you could see the emotion on Cade's face. Whew, that was a doozy.
Yeah. And I also, if I would have known, I was like, I wonder if one of them will have this. And I almost did Notre Dame women's basketball after beating Duke.
If we had had 3 women's basketball highlights, people would have revolted.
It's funny. We actually waited to tape the women's basketball podcast last night because I was like, all right, Notre Dame's now the #1 team in the country. We probably need to wait to tape this which will be available shortly wherever you get your podcast. But it was so funny because I was like, we probably need to watch the #1 team in the country, yada, yada, yada. And then it was a 2-point game at half, Taylor. And I'm like, we probably needed to wait to record this because they might get upset. But an 11-1 run to start the third quarter for the Fighting Irish and another victory for Neil Ivey and company.
Yeah, I love it. And so that's why I honestly, for a second, debated because I was like, this was a really good story. And so I wonder if someone else is going to do that. But I didn't want it to not be in it if you guys went gymnastics or baseball, whatever. So, yeah, it is. And even the announcers talking about it and how that just shows a whole other level of what sports mean to people. And a player, someone like that losing the mom, a parent in any way, but hours before a game. But that's he knew that in his head, and the announcers were talking about this, like he knew that his mom, that's what his mom would want him to do, is be out there playing baseball, because that's what she enjoyed him doing. And so those moments, it always is, okay, everything, it's bigger than the win or the loss or the game itself. It's the depth that sports mean to so many people is a different level.
And I think too, being around the people that you're closest with, that's how you're going to get through your grief, right? Like if he had decided not to play, he's going to be home alone in his dorm room. Like that's not going to help, in that moment. And so, it was a really, really special thing. And then switching over to women's basketball, Juju Watkins, as UCLA, which had been the #1 team in the country, fell to USC.
Yeah, and I'm not I'm a fan of Juju, and I think she was given the unfair task by so many in pop culture and in mainstream sports and mainstream media. The expectation was, okay, she was the second leading scorer in the nation last year behind Caitlin Clark. She's just going to pick up the baton and run with where Caitlin left it. She's in the State Farm commercials. She's in the Nike commercial. Like, this is just the natural progression of Juju's career, and that has largely not been the case up to this point. Yes, she looked dominant in the win over UConn back in December when we were in Vegas, but largely that's a USC team that, literally lost on Caitlin Clark Day to an unranked Iowa, but has been up and down, has played with fire. And while Juju has certainly been the bus driver and has been the leading force, bringing in Kiki Ariafen from Stanford has been a nice Robin. But aside from that, the cupboard's kind of bare. Then, of course, the viral moment from, I think it was a week and a half ago, when Lindsey Gottlieb, the head coach, is talking to Juju, and she looks like she would like to be anywhere other than listening to Lindsey Gottlieb, her head coach. I think there were people who then questioned maybe how coachable, or if that was not trying to tune out her coach, just the perception of Juju Watkins, how she carries herself. And then, she goes out in a victory over the #1 team in the country and a crosstown rival, drops 38 points. She is the first player with 35 points, 5 blocks, 5 assists in a game in the last 20 seasons across Division I. She made 6 threes, 11 boards, 8 blocks against the #1 team in the country. So give her this. Yeah. Maybe she's not box office every night, but she certainly shows up in prime time.
And I do think that as far as if you're just a casual women's basketball fan, the top has changed some this year. And so that part is kind of cool to pay attention to, because I think most people going into it would have been like, well, South Carolina is still the best team in the country, right? But it has shifted from South Carolina to then UCLA, and then certainly now Notre Dame as well, like you said, successful. And speaking of basketball, Florida now #2 in the country after another double-digit win, I should say, this time over South Carolina over the weekend. We talked yesterday, Mia, about Micah Hand-Logden's return. Thank you, RJ. I'll take that. Certainly Elijah Martin getting back as well. I saw Chris Harry, who is very close to the program, who writes for FloridaGators.com. His projected starting lineup tonight has Denzel Aberdeen in the starting lineup and still Thomas Houck, which no surprise on Houck.
Well-deserved for both of them.
But and so Elijah Martin coming off the bench, I think that's also good, because he did miss a couple games with that hip pointer, and the depth we've already talked so much about. What's going to be fascinating to see is, can Florida keep this high level of basketball going through the next 6 games and into the conference tournament and into the NCAA tournament? That's a lot to ask.
I think the good news, and you hinted at this last week, Lauren, is that for Hand-Logden and for Elijah Martin, I mean, more so for Hand-Logden, obviously, because he just made a season debut on Saturday, but certainly for Martin as well, they're just getting their sea legs back under them. And so, in the words of one Doug Peterson, they can peak at the right time.
Yeah.
The ceiling is still so far away, I think, for both of those players, and that's a good thing for Florida, because, look, Denzel Aberdeen is a sophomore. Thomas Houck is a sophomore. I'm going to continue. Houck.
Sounds like you're hawking.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying here. Exactly. And I practice it, but here we are. They are sophomores. I'm not suggesting they will go through sophomore slumps.
Yeah.
They're not going to go for Aberdeen had 23 points.
They both had 20.
When all was said and done.
20.
He was 6 of 9 from 3-point range. At one point, he hits the back-to-back. I think it was 3 of 4 and 4 trips down the court. Like, that's not going to happen night after night. And there are going to be moments. And yes, those two players went through their own series of trials and tribulations last year and took their lumps. And so you would think, hey, if they do have a poor performing night or poor performance, they'll bounce back. But there's still going to be moments of doubt there. And I think that that's where the fact that you have so many guys who could be that guy who goes off on any given night, that's what's the most exciting development for Florida. Because even if someone hits a wall, there's someone else who's just still approaching their ceiling.
Yeah, Aberdeen had just had a career high of 20 and then went ahead and had another career high of 22
yeah.
and then Houck with a career high of 20 points. To me, the game is always going to run through Walter Clayton Jr., as we all know. But even when he was out, Florida was able to fill that gap. And so to me, though, the next 3 games are not as difficult. I think Florida can relax a little bit emotionally, especially because of the return of Micah Handlogton and just how emotional that was. But then to finish the season strong, I think is going to be really important. But Todd Golden's done a masterful job of being able to get his guys. So other than the one game against Tennessee, his guys are always at a 10, it seems like. They are a feisty bunch. They pick each other up. And that's where I know a lot of people want to still talk about Mike White and the comparison between Mike White and Todd Golden. I understand because so many people wanted Mike White out and other people said, no, he's winning 20 plus games a year. That will always be something that Gator fans were polarized about. But Todd Golden, the emotions that he shows on the bench are completely different than Mike White. And yet there's a direct correlation to how offensively Golden's teams play and Mike White's teams play.
Do I want to make the comparison to the Jaguars? No, I'm not going to go that far. But I think it could be a similar,
juice. You want to use the word juice? Trevor talked about Liam Cohen having the juice.
It could be similar.
The past coach maybe didn't have the juice.
Right. It could be a similar trajectory there. Hopefully just with the on the court stuff, obviously.
River City Rumble Thursday night, Frangie Show live from UNF Arena. That is going to be a terrific game between JU and UNF.
Yes. One note I did want to make real quick on Florida, Lauren. So I called the UNF Florida Gulf Coast game 2 weeks ago on Thursday, and Florida Gulf Coast had just come off of a loss to Eastern Kentucky, their first home loss of the season. And I was speaking with one of the assistant coaches during pregame shoot around, and I said, do you just chalk it up as that was just their night? It wasn't your night. You tip your cap. And he said, yes. Essentially, as a college basketball coach, you allot 2 games like that per year. And that was our second. So we have no more excuses. And so when I look at that Tennessee loss for Florida, I don't want to put the Kentucky loss in that category because technically up to that point, Florida was the 6th most efficient offense in a single game in the country. And Kentucky was the number one. Right. Yeah. So that one's not included. So there are going to be minimum, according to this one coach, 2 games where
that's funny. I don't think you tell your team that. All right, I'm giving you 2 more.
You get one more.
That was
one more where you completely blow it, but that's it.
It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen.
Don't circle that back to the Jaguars because they ran out of their mulligans after week 3.
Point being, you're going to,
one more.
You're going to have those games where it's just not your night. And Florida hasn't had a lot of those. And even when they've fallen behind, they have found a way to rally in the second half, and that's the mark of a good team.
And even when their main guys are getting injured, and because the Walter Clayton one we talked about, but it does feel like, and to your point, Mia, it does feel like anytime you feel like, okay, this could be the night because so-and-so's hurt or because they're just coming off an injury or whatever the case may be, Florida finds a way, and that's a big piece of what Todd Golden has been able to do is that you are confident that when maybe you can't throw some of these guys in there, you have other starters that technically are on your bench, and I guess Aberdeen now not being is starting, but that type of guy is if he does run into a little bit of a lull, you have guys that you can easily throw in and you don't feel like there's any drop off whatsoever.
Yeah, and by the way, Aberdeen is a junior, and the reason I wanted to make that point is just because he's the one guy that Todd Golden didn't recruit that's on this team. So the other guys are all guys that are Golden guys, but Golden was able to convince Aberdeen, I've got a role for you, even though he wasn't starting. And so a lot of people would have expected Aberdeen to transfer from there. By the way, I mentioned that there is local basketball tonight. UNF lost to Central Arkansas over the weekend by 1 point in a game that they led at the half. So that was certainly frustrating. But UNF is at Stetson tonight, tipping off at 7 o'clock. And then JU lost to North Alabama on Saturday, 92-79. And then JU is at Florida Gulf Coast tonight at 6:30. JU is tied for second in the A-Sun with Eastern Kentucky at 10-4. Behind Lipscomb and North Alabama, both of them 11-3. And then FSU lost to Clemson 72-46. So after winning a couple games, after Leonard Hamilton announced his retirement, Taylor, you should have just seen Taylor's face when I mentioned the score. That was real bad. Watching that get some
Clemson's
of that game.
Clemson's a good team. They're a top 25 team.
They are, but to only score 46 points, yikes. And then FSU plays host to Miami tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. FSU Miami was once a really good men's basketball game. But FSU's good in baseball.
I'm not going to put it on Matthew Cleveland, but I mean, no offense. Like Matthew Cleveland transfers from Florida State to Miami. Miami had just been in the Final Four.
Well, Jim Larinaga retiring at the beginning of this season.
But Jim Larinaga retired, Lauren, because they had an awful season last year.
I don't want to do this again.
And
retire in the offseason.
Then they had an awful November, an awful December. Over the Christmas holiday, he goes, "Yeah, just kidding, I'm out." And that was after they obviously spent a lot of money in the transfer portal too. So,
all right, I'll give you our Terminex Pest of the Day when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an Epic Cool Heating and Air Tuesday. You can find them online at epichvacservice.com or call 904-859-EPIC. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Welcome to 1010XL.
Why is he in a plane?
I don't know. Well, don't just stand there. Hop in.
Jacksonville Sports Radio.
You survived the cold, and it's time to heat up your spring with a cigar tasting of Perdomo cigars. Join Tobacco Cove Saturday, February 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m. for a tasting extravaganza featuring Perdomo cigars rolled in Nicaragua. Food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to experience the quality and value Perdomo offers. Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Joe C. for Blossman Gas. They've been providing hometown service and the comforts of propane to home and businesses since 1951. Imagine movie night spent around glowing gas fireplace logs, cookouts in the backyard with your propane grill, or laundry done faster with your gas dryer. Blossman has a wide variety of gas appliances to fit your needs. Propane delivery, gas appliances, and a full service team. Blossman Gas is your local company for everything propane. Blossman Gas, log on, blossmangas.com, and check out the Blossman difference.
Mia here since 1982. Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com and take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing. Closets by Design at 1-800-293-3744.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
When Florida weather hits with epic force, you need reliable air conditioning. Epic Cool Heating and Air is here. Take advantage of our Epic Gold membership program. You'll get 2 yearly tests of your entire AC system to keep it running smooth all year. That's epic. Plus, no interest financing for 18 months. That's epic. Visit epichvacservice.com today and trust the experts at Epic Cool Heating and Air to keep your home comfortable. That's epichvacservice.com.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Put your best foot forward and score 60 minutes of soccer insight on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley for Soccer Talk.
Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 a.m.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy.
I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists, and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Catch Gators baseball all season long on 1010XL. Pitched by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Hey, John, have you heard about the incredible offers at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got rates as low as 3.9% for 36 and 48 months on the stunning 2024 Escalade.
That's right. Experience luxury like never before. Whether it's the exquisite interior or the advanced technology, every drive feels like a royal experience.
Visit Randy Marion Cadillac today on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
And don't forget, Randy Marion is the king of price. Drive and indulge in luxury at Randy Marion Cadillac.
Plus tax tag title 999 admin fee with Persistol and approved credit.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. The gang is all back together today. Terminex knows how to stop termites and pests like they did at my house. That's why they do it at places like Everbank Stadium, Daly's Place, 121 Financial Ballpark, Vistar Veterans Memorial Arena. The list goes on. All of your favorite event venues around town. Before things get out of control, Terminex it. All right, we talked about the hockey yesterday, the Four Nations tournament that's going on. Mm-hmm. The United States, I mentioned yesterday, I didn't understand why they had to play a game if they were already in the finals. And after our show, we found out Canada also advanced to the finals. So the United States will rematch with the Canadians in that finals on Thursday night. But my issue is that one of the United States forwards got injured, Brady Tkachuk, got injured in last night's game with a lower body injury. They say that he should be okay to play Thursday. Yeah. But what if he's not? Yeah. I blame Four Nations for even having to have the United States play that game last night against Sweden when they've already advanced. That makes no sense to me in any tournament I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I will say I don't think, obviously, these hockey players are throwing punches. They aren't like, I'm not going to play because I might get hurt in this game. But yeah, from what I've heard, both the Tkachuk brothers are going to play, so that's positive. But there's been, honestly, several hits in the USA roster, and they've been able to get over a lot of these. But the Tkachuk brothers, obviously, you want them out there. And it'll be wild, especially the way that things went in that last game with the booing and with the fights and with all of these other things. That's just going to be amped up because even the game last night, the USA game last night, the Americans were booing the other, like the opposing national anthem, which I'm trying to remember, is Sweden's. And they were booing, well, I think they played still the Canadian national anthem, which they do at every hockey game. They'll play both. And so they're booing that national anthem at this point. So now it's just this full on, it's going to get rowdy.
I don't like the booing of the anthems. To me, because for me, the anthem should not be a political thing. It should be an appreciation for what the military has fought for.
Oh, yeah. But Canada made it that. And so that's, now the USA is going to come back at them.
But we should boo the Swedish anthem.
It wasn't. It was the Canadian anthem they booed.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So just to be clear, because I know we were watching from afar while on vacation the last few days, and we have some friends that are actually up in the Boston area. Shout out to Brandon and Dory that are there watching the games. And like, they're sending us photos, and Kevin looked at me and he's like, so is this an Olympic qualifier? Because I turned on ESPN and I also saw about an Olympic trial. this is replacing the All-Star game,
yeah.
which I appreciate because it's a week-long fan fest between two cities.
Yeah.
And it's games that because you're playing for country pride, and because, let's be real, how many people tune in for the Olympics versus a middle of January random Tuesday night tilt between two teams in the Western Conference who you have no affiliation to, you're going to be more inclined to tune in if it's one country versus another. And so it's a great marketing job by hockey internationally. But also to that same point, Lauren, these are teams that those players are going to have to go back to their NHL clubs when all is said and done. What has been the knock on the Pro Bowl, on the All-Star games, in the other professional sports? All-Star Week that just wrapped up in the NBA. People say it's no longer aesthetically pleasing because you're not actually competing. You're not actually playing the games. It's all for show. But at the same time, you still get the dough, and you avoid significant injury 9 times out of 10.
Well,
the hockey players
don't care about any of
Right.
that.
And so therefore, I love this.
They were playing like they were playing a normal game. And I think and we were talking about that, Mia, like what our conversation yesterday was, what does the NBA do to get not only fans interested again, but players, because the players don't care because they're
Draymond's out here just
it doesn't matter to them. Because you added the country element to this, I think it did add a whole other, it makes the players want to care even more. They also, hockey players are also a different breed, so that's part of it also.
Yeah, we've always tried to compare like football players and hockey players because the sports are violent, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
How many football players are willing to risk losing their teeth? Whereas I feel like that's just the norm when it comes to hockey.
One of my favorite videos ever, if you've never seen it, Larry Fitzgerald, had him do hockey drills. And so they mixed 2 players. So they had football players go do hockey drills and they had hockey players go do football drills. The hockey players were just going through every football drill, no issue. They were doing everything they needed to do. And Larry Fitzgerald out there trying to ice skate and come to a fast stop while trying to puck handle at the same time. He's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I have ice skated very few times in my life. There's no chance I could ever even come close to doing something with my hands in addition. I just hold on to the railing when I'm ice skating. I did want to ask, did y'all read that long-form ESPN article that detailed the quote-unquote bullygate that was from the Dolphins organization
with
back
Jonathan
in 2014?
Martin, how now he says he never was bullied.
So
I have not seen that.
I'll summarize it. So I know not everyone wants to spend for some people, maybe 20 plus minutes reading an article. For me, it didn't take that long. I'm not bragging. I feel like I scan more than I actually read. But
I was like, it took me 7 minutes.
I wanted to time myself. And then I didn't think it took that long, but I can understand where it could take people a while because some people get distracted while reading. That's more what I meant. So Jonathan Martin, he never claimed that he was bullied. That's the basis of the story.
Okay.
The basis also is that his mom had stepped in and she told media that he was bullied because of things that Richie Incognito and then also a couple other teammates were saying to him and were doing to him. So the crux of all of it is Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin's dad, still has a voicemail that Incognito left on his phone. And if you read, I'm not going to come close to reading what he said. If you read that, you will say to yourself, that's 100% bullying. But in the NFL world or in the sports world in general, teammates aren't going to ever go outside of the organization and claim that it's bullying.
Yeah.
But Jonathan had told his parents what had been going on, and he says now, 11 years later, he wishes that he had gone to his head coach. He wished he had gone to the owners before he had ever, and obviously he didn't know his parents were then going to take this to the media.
Right.
So he just, and oh, by the way, this is part of it too that a lot of people don't realize. Jonathan Martin was raised in an incredibly academic forward household. His parents are very smart. He went to Stanford.
Right.
Since then, he has a he got a business degree at Stanford. He also has a master's degree. He's also going to the Wharton School of Business at Penn. His mom was the first black partner at a certain law firm in Pennsylvania, or maybe the first black legal partner in all of Pennsylvania. So his parents obviously are also coming at this from something different. He started playing the violin. He was never meant to be a football player, but his size just lent itself to that sport. So I say all of that background to say he and his mom didn't speak for a while because he was so upset by what happened and how his
the
NFL,
way she approached it.
Right. And his NFL career eventually was tarnished, but also the relationship between his teammates obviously didn't go well. And now you see Richie Incognito, who's constantly tweeting things like, I tried to say this all along. No, I think he was a bully.
Yeah.
But the situation just wasn't handled the way that Jonathan Martin and obviously Richie Incognito wished that it was handled.
So this was 2006, right?
2014.
Oh, it was only 24. I thought it was way earlier. So social media was prevalent then.
Yes,
at that
and that's
point.
what it quote unquote went viral as far as that's concerned.
And that's what were Jonathan Martin's parents like the first documented helicopter parents? Because can you imagine, outside of LeVar Ball, can you imagine a parent in 2025, especially in the National Football League, stepping in and saying, my son was bullied? Like, can you imagine, like, the perception of what that would be in the social media age now where it is 11 years later?
To me, it's all in, is the person being so bullied that the parent needs to step in? You know, that's where it comes down to. Jonathan Martin, like he said, he should have handled it differently, but he also didn't realize that his mom was so worried about him that she, and I wouldn't necessarily call her a helicopter parent. I would say that she just took the wrong outlet. She probably also didn't realize that by saying that one word bully, that this story was going to explode.
What it was, right. And also like directly impact the careers of at least a half dozen people, not just her son. I don't know, like maybe it's the culture we live in now, but like I would just feel like, well, why didn't he just stand up for himself? And maybe that's maybe that's just the evolution of social media where it's
I'm sure he did, but I think also you could tell that like, because again, he was raised in more of the academia world, he was not used to those types of people. Like the Stanford football team is a lot different than, and I'm not saying that Dolphins players aren't as smart as Stanford football players. I just think that it's a different environment. And even David Shaw is quoted in the story too. And he basically is like, I wanted to be there for Jonathan, but I didn't know how to address it publicly.
Yeah. And this type of thing, which you can connect to other work situations, because it's at that point you have a level that you're supposed to still be professional, because it is a job and it's work, and it wasn't right. So there is a level of, there was things happening that probably shouldn't have been happening, but it is a bunch of men who also feel like they can't express that if they want to, because then people are like, oh, well, why are you're getting bullied?
Probably
and then
would
it turns
turn around
into something
and be like,
else.
my mom got hacked.
Yeah. And I do think that now, because we see plenty of parents in the world of, the difference is the majority of them now, because it's over a decade later, and you do know how things turn into that and escalate into situations that maybe you didn't want it to be, or certain words are now triggers, and those words carry into bigger things. And yeah, it was 2014, social media was still there, and it was in this world of like picking up at that point, but you still were just getting to the point where like a normal person was carrying, or like on their Facebook, on their phone constantly, like, or tweeting. And Twitter got popular in like 2009, 10, so you're not far off from that happening. And now I think you still see it, but the difference is the parents now will like kind of, they'll retweet something, or they'll like a tweet, or they'll just like put ... and stuff like that, rather than putting whole things out into situations, because they've realized now, like, you are affecting other situations.
You got to be strategic if you want to actually get your point across.
Yeah. Whereas, like I said yesterday, on the complete opposite, Micah Hanlogton's mom was tweeting about how great it was to hear the roar of the crowd as he was able to return and get his first basket after suffering that gruesome injury. And so the parents can be on social media and make it more of a positive thing, but you do have to pick and choose your battles. And I don't think, again, his mom didn't tweet this out or anything.
Yeah.
But when a reporter got wind of it, and then she openly said, like, yeah, he's being bullied, that's what created the whole firestorm that no one saw coming. And so, like I said, I wanted to read more into it, or give more people more information in case they don't read all the way through it, because the headline is the bullying never happened, but that's not exactly what it is. Like I said, go read that voicemail. All right, we've got one segment to go. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an epic Cool Heating and Air Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Catch Gators basketball on 1010XL.
Swamp dominance continues at O'Connell as the Gators look to smother the Sooners. Florida, Oklahoma, tonight at 7 on 1010 AM.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now, only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialist take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about how God never fails us. In the Bible, Christ says this, I will in no way fail you or leave you without support. This is so important to remember because we can have the attitude, where is God when I need him? Why is this problem happening to me? No, just because your mind is saying one thing doesn't mean that God isn't going to do what he said. God has never failed us in the past. He's not about to start right now.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren here for Big Chief Tire. Tax season is the perfect time to invest in your vehicle. Use your refund to tackle overdue tire replacements, brake repairs, or routine maintenance. Big Chief Tire's skilled technicians ensure every dollar counts, keeping your car running strong. With 5 convenient locations around town, fair prices, and trusted expertise, they've got you covered. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
1010XL celebrates African Americans who positively impacted the First Coast. I'm RJ Saunders, and I'll share Black History Month stories with you throughout February. Black History Month on 1010XL is brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
With the sun setting earlier, Hidden Hills Golf Club has expanded their twilight specials so you can take advantage of our special afternoon rates and get your round in before dark. Book today at hiddenhillsgc.com and enjoy this beautiful fall weather.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Since I was still on vacation yesterday, didn't get to unveil the latest Mo Bryan ballot for the AP Top 25. If you're watching on the YouTube, X, or Facebook live stream, you're seeing me pull up my phone. That's because I didn't have my computer with me, so I did have to submit my ballot via email and by iPhone Notes app. So so that's where we have it. I haven't actually transferred it over yet to the good old Google Doc.
I went on vacation without your laptop. I am officially shocked.
Yeah, no, it was very much locked down. My phone was taken from me. It was on Do Not Disturb.
She was not kidnapped.
Do you bring your laptop on your vacation?
I don't normally, but there's times that I've needed it in the past.
Yeah.
So I think I'll take it with me this time. I feel like such a grown up.
Yeah, no, I was told no, you're not allowed to bring anything. So I said, okay, cool, that works for me. Obviously, Auburn's the number one team in the land. I'm sure you guys discussed that yesterday, no question, after they defeated Alabama. I do
Still question, but I'll let it slide.
Yeah, but I do find it interesting,
The
though,
number
Lauren.
2 team did win at number 1.
Right. I do, right, but then, and to the Gators' credit, and I was lamenting to Taylor about this before we came on the air. I do have Mizzou 9th in my ballot because I do think Mizzou has, two of their most recent 2 losses that they had were by 1 possession or less. I think if you go down the list, I don't know. The SEC is a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And so anyways, because one of Florida's 3 losses is to Mizzou, who in my opinion is a top 10 team, to Kentucky, who's a top 25 team, and to Tennessee, who's a top 10 team. Yes, you could make that argument, Lauren.
Missouri most recently lost to Tennessee by 4 points. That was at Tennessee. And before that, lost at home to Texas A&M, again, a ranked Texas A&M, by 3 points.
And that was a buzzer beater.
And then Oklahoma, or Missouri destroyed Oklahoma on this past Wednesday before Missouri beat Georgia in a little bit of a closer game. But that gives me hope as far as tonight's men's basketball game between Florida and Oklahoma. If Missouri can destroy them, hopefully Florida can.
Yeah, Oklahoma's kind of been up and down ever since they won the battle for Atlantis and had one of the fastest starts to the season under a coach who was on the hot seat in Porter Moser. You may remember him from his time with Loyola Chicago, taking them to the Final Four. A lot of people thought entering year 4 in Norman, if he didn't win, this is probably it. Back off to, the mid-majors you go. But started out the season, I believe it ended up being 12-0 or 11-0 to start the year. Has come back down to earth a little bit. Still obviously in a good position to make the tournament. But I just wanted to rehash kind of Auburn, Alabama. I am shocked that Alabama tumbled all the way to number 4 because, while yes, War Eagle led from wire to wire, there's no question who was the more dominant team, and it was on the road for Auburn. At the same time, yes, I think Florida and Duke are better outfits, but I didn't expect Alabama to fall all the way to 4, personally, in the AP poll or in the coaches poll for that matter. I thought people would give them much more of a benefit of the doubt and argue that, quote unquote, Alabama's losses aren't, the same as Florida's. Now, yes, when you look at the rankings and the polls, now it looks very nice and clean because the team that only has 2 losses is number 1. The 2 teams that have 3 losses are 2 and 3. Now, and the next 2 teams have 4 losses and so on.
Not every voter is watching every game, so that's exactly how I think they do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go by losses.
Yeah, exactly, which is, I don't know. I was very curious to see Florida all the way up to number 2, given how Duke has just run amok through the ACC, and it's a down,
way easier
right?
league.
It's a down ACC, but also if you're going to argue that and the SEC is stronger, then I don't know why Alabama falls to 4, but that's just me pontificating.
Like you said, I think the key there is the fact that Alabama never let it home. I mean, that's a huge thing when it was billed as number 1 versus number 2 because it was the very first time in the SEC this has happened on the hardwood, and Alabama, while it was close for most of the game, still just didn't ever show the mettle to be able to beat Auburn. Tonight, by the way, JU plays host to 6th ranked Florida in baseball. Fringy Show will be there as well from 4 to 6. Looking forward to that one. My parents are going. Brian and I are going. Have some friends going. Their daughter's the one that we've played the football on the show. So hopefully she likes baseball. This will be her first entry point into it. But certainly the Dolphins had, I would say a tougher weekend than probably Chris Hayes would have liked, but certainly have a great opportunity tonight. And those midweek matchups are always different than the weekend ones because you have those different starting pitchers. So certainly looking forward to that. And then one other thing I wanted to mention when it comes to Florida. A couple weeks ago, I told y'all that Mary Wise had announced her retirement, the very long time head coach of the Florida volleyball team. And it was announced last night that Ryan Tice, who guided Marquette to 10 NCAA tournament appearances, will take over. He had been with Florida in the past, so worked under Mary Wise. But yeah, so there's a new head volleyball coach in Gainesville. His name is Ryan Tice. And I did see that Billy Napier was enjoying the Florida baseball game, one of the Florida baseball games over the weekend with his family.
Oh, good.
It looked like he was drinking a beer. I say he deserves it.
He deserves a beer. I love that. Oh man, I was about to ask a question about the new. Oh, when does volleyball start? By the way,
It's a fall sport.
It's all. Oh, okay, gotcha. Because I was like, but then beach volleyball, spring sport. Okay,
yes.
I try and keep track. I'm like, when does everything start? Because there's a lot of spring that starts all around now.
Yes, this is, like I mentioned it yesterday, this is crossover season for college athletics. And so athletic departments everywhere are scrambling, trying to get every sport taken care of because the winter sports are going on and the spring sports are going on.
Yeah, I know my schedule this weekend is largely the crux of our good friends at JU having to staff. I think it's 8 games on Saturday, and like 6 of them are going to be on ESPN Plus. So it's part of why, despite having some friends in town, I was like, yeah, I see. You need me. It's all good. I told the friends, no, we're good. And then I see like the rundown, and it's like literally like they don't have a color commentator yet for me. So that could be an interesting
fill
one.
The airtime.
Right, exactly. I'm not worried. I've done games solo before. So shout out Mount Mercy and Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So NAIA school, like wouldn't be the first time, but I was like, yikes! If there was ever like an indictment of like crossover season right now, like looking at that calendar, and that's just JU because UNF also has to do the same exact thing across town, and Florida's got to do it down the road.
Yeah, for sure. What do you like doing better, play-by-play or color? Or sidelines?
Frangie asked me this the other day. Play-by-play is more of a challenge because it doesn't come naturally to me. I've been doing sidelines since, on a consistent basis since 2013 when I was a junior. So I've had a lot more reps at the sideline part of it. Obviously working in local television, I didn't have the opportunity to do either for a good chunk of time. And so now having an opportunity to do it a little bit more frequently, I do want to flex the muscles more. I did only play soccer and lacrosse right. The play-by-play muscles, I want to flex those more because, hey, listen, I tell people all the time, if you're a sports media nerd like me, the one thing I can guarantee for you, local TV, it's going to change. The talk shows, the radio shows, the sports centers, we've already seen how that has evolved into podcasts, whether it's Snapchat, Sports Center on Snapchat, like that traditional model that has gone away. But the one thing that is never going to go anywhere is live sports on television. So if you can do play-by-play, obviously it's a feather in your cap. But yeah, so that's where I've appreciated getting to do it more. But yeah, Frangie's always like, oh, you're so good at sidelines. I'm like, I know, and I do have fun doing it. It's not that
know.
It's not that I don't have fun doing it. I do. But I appreciate a challenge.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
Taylor and I both have done sidelines in the past. I did not like sidelines whatsoever. I felt like I was way too quiet. Like there was so much more that I wanted to say, but obviously in the sideline role, you're limited to a very brief period of time and then the interviews, whether it's players or coaches. And there was always stuff I wanted to add to it, but there wasn't enough time. And so I didn't love it.
But that's part of the job that's evolved. And that's something, we got a kick out of Molly, didn't want to stick around and talk to us after she did the update at 1 o'clock. But I did say to her,
she had off yesterday.
You're right. I've been working with her on it's especially this new age of live broadcast, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, you are seeing the sideline reporter be much more incorporated, especially in basketball with Holly Rowe, Rebecca Lobo, and Ryan Morocco. She is a third member of the crew. Yeah. And so it's okay to say to your producer, hey, I don't have to be on camera, but just come to me because I've got an anecdote that's going to aid the broadcast. It's okay to take on that role.
All right, we haven't talked any college football. Let's do that now with Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All's quiet on the Western Front in college football, right, Matt? It's
the
downtime.
Not really.
About ready to get all funky in a day.
Yeah, so tell us more about what's going on.
They're meeting in New Orleans, the conference commissioners and the select group of athletic directors, and they're trying to find a way out of the...
Is Scott Strickland one of these athletic directors? Do you know? You can't say.
So they're meeting. So they're meeting in New Orleans. This group of commissioners. This really isn't about college football expansion. I just wrote this today in USA Today. It's not really about expansion. This is more about like the financial stability of college sports in general.
Okay.
Because what they're talking about now goes way beyond expanding it to 14 teams or even 16 teams. They're now talking about the championship week, which is typically just the SEC championship, Big 12 championship, all the championship games. That becomes like a play-in week where, let's just say the Big 10, you've got Oregon and Penn State in the championship game. The next 6 teams will also play on that day. 3 versus 8, 4 versus 7, 5 versus 6. All 4 winners are automatically in. The other ones can get in if you're an at-large bid.
And this is why I just said live sporting events never going anywhere, folks. The price of the dollar keeps going up.
So you go from 4 games of significance on that day of those Power 4 teams to 16. Oof. So now you're talking about legit, we're redoing the media rights deal. Mm-hmm. And they're desperate for revenue because they're losing $20 million, up to $20 million. If you want to spend $20 million, you can. Up to $20 million per school with now pay for play when it arrives in July 1st.
And that affects schools that don't even have football.
Correct.
If you participate in D1 athletics.
If you decide to spend that amount.
Okay.
Now, and we all wonder, why is Florida State whining and complaining? Well, because they get like $42 million from the ACC, and half of that's going to have to go to pay for play.
Right.
That's
and the
why.
SEC this year paid out
52.5.
Yeah.
And next year is when it starts to increase, is when the Big Ten's also starts to increase.
So you think we'll be at 16 teams in the next few years?
26. 26.
So in a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, 20,
I mean, they're talking about 14, but the SEC and the Big Ten are pushing for 16, and right now, whatever the SEC and Big Ten want is what they get.
Not necessarily your foremost focus, but college basketball, the talk of expanding to 70.
Oh, that's coming too.
Okay.
That's another thing. They're not just talking just football.
Yeah.
The NCAA men's and women's basketball tournament will expand. The College World Series baseball and softball will expand. The idea is getting more content for television partners to get more money, because they're taking a huge hit. I mean, if you're even in the 2 super conferences in the SEC and the Big Ten, you're talking about almost 40% of the revenue going away to pay players. And it's not just football players, it's all sports.
Yeah.
I'm glad we actually did talk about play-by-play versus sidelines, because this is a good lead-in, because that was what I just said. Like, that's why I've been advised, like, as much play-by-play as I can do, it's for the betterment, because live sporting events are going nowhere.
No, it's
and there's
the most
going to
successful thing on sports right now.
And there's going to be
cable, I should say.
And there's going to be even more games because they continue to expand. But at some point, because I know we got to let you go, Matt, but like at some point in time, is it going to feel like a participation trophy? Or does it make the regular season matter more because more teams are in it until the finish?
I think it certainly matters more, right? I mean, we've seen it in the last year with the playoffs, and I think it's going to fit right along their lines of tournament. They're all about tournament. And cable networks now want, you've seen it all along, live sports. Live sports is bigger than Gangs of London, which, by the way, is fantastic on Netflix.
Never heard of it.
But yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's live sports. So they're doing everything they can to generate more revenue.
Yeah, and I always said with that expansion, to me, the moment that you could possibly go to, you don't have to be at one of those top schools that normally, those 4 schools that are always getting it.
Right.
The moment the other schools start to have that just as an even opportunity to get in there, players will want to go play for them, because it's like, oh, I still have a good chance to getting into the college football playoff. If there's 16 teams, I don't have to play for one of those teams that are ranked in
like Boise State.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, more important, like if you're Fernando Mendoza, who could have gone to Miami and played quarterback, why don't you just go to Indiana and get more money to go play in Indiana, because Indiana was in the playoff last year.
It's also why the NCAA tournament, like regardless of who the names on the back of the jersey may be, it continues to be one of the greatest sporting spectacles we have, because there is always room for David to triumph over Goliath, and it gives you that little ounce of hope. And so it's interesting that we'll have that little ounce of hope perhaps for more quote-unquote mid-major FCS.
I don't know how many more Davids are going to be in the tournament. My guess would be there's going to be many more Goliaths when those tournaments
especially
expand.
if SEC and Big Ten get their way.
Yeah,
all right, Matt, what's coming up?
We're talking about that. We're going to talk about the Jaguars. We've got our coach,
Dave
Campo, in today.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
All right, stay tuned for XL Primetime. They come up next for Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. And by the way, speaking of all that, we'll have Stuart Mandel from The Athletic on tomorrow at 1 o'clock to break down more of that college football. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow.